How comfortable are you telling stories? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about telling stories because whether you like it or not, we're telling stories all the time. If you meet somebody and you want to tell them anything about your life, it could be something really insignificant, something small, something that doesn't really mean much, and it could be something that is the core of who you are. The core, I love this word, means the very center, the main thing. So if you think of an apple, you keep biting it and then you get to the core, which is that middle bit that usually most people don't eat. You chuck the core of the apple. That's the middle part, the center. So you might be wanting to share something about the core of who you are. So maybe you've had a very serious disease in the past and that changed you as a person and you would like to share that. Or you are an immigrant and having left your country is pretty much the core of who you are and you would like to talk about that. Or maybe you've had a very difficult time conceiving. Conceiving means to, get pregnant or to impregnate somebody. So it's been a very difficult journey for you and this is the story you're going to be sharing. Whatever story it may be, you guys need to understand that we are constantly sharing stories. We're constantly telling people stuff that sounds a bit like a tale. So a tale is a story with beginning, middle, end. So to be able to really talk about these things and give the necessary information is quite important. Well, of course, telling a story is a skill and you'd be surprised. I love this expression. It means literally, you would not believe, you'd be surprised how many people are unable to tell a decent story in their own language. So this is not only about being able to do it in English, it's a skill that a lot of people have not yet mastered in their own language, have not yet mastered. This is a bit of a weird structure, isn't it? Because if you think about it, a lot of you have learned that you need to say yet at the end. So many people have not mastered this skill yet. That's absolutely fine. I just rephrased it. You have not yet mastered. That's absolutely okay too. So I'm going to tell you a real story as per usual. As per usual is, as always, it's just a very sort of natural and well-spoken way. This is for very advanced speakers who have been immersed in the language for a long time, and I think it would be cool for you guys to know what it means. As per usual, as always, I'm going to tell you a real story. You may have noticed that I'm recording this video and my movements are a bit limited. So I'm not moving as I usually do. That's because I have had the absolute worst stiff neck experience of my life. Let me explain what I've just said. I've had the absolute worst. This is something I have had questions about before. So I said something on Instagram one day with that same structure. It was the absolute best time of my day, whatever. I said something and somebody replied and asked me, "What? Hold on, did you say absolute and not absolutely?" Yes, I did. This is how we say it. So the absolute worst. So I'm describing something, the absolute worst stiff neck crisis of my life. Stiff means no movement, okay? So when you have a stiff neck, is that thing you have where you cannot move your neck. So your movements are very limited. You can't turn to the side. Sometimes you can't bend forward. You can't lie down properly. So in my case, guys, honestly, it's been the absolute worst I've ever had. I'm talking about my whole life here, I've ever had. And I have had many stiff neck situations, crises, many really, but never something quite like this. quite like this means exactly like this. Never something quite like this. What happened was, this is a very natural way to start telling your story, okay? What happened was, I was sleeping, so it was the middle of the night, and everything was normal, I was fine, and I went to kind of turn to the side, and when I did that I realized I was completely stiff. So there wasn't a moment that things went wrong. I didn't notice the moment it went wrong, and usually I do. So usually I'll be either waking up and stretching in bed, and I feel the moment I pull the muscle. So you pull a muscle is that movement and that sensation that you go, ow, oh my God, I can't move right now. What have I done? That is pulling a muscle. So usually I notice the exact minute. So look, the absolute best, the exact time. You see, I'm describing something here. I'm not saying exactly time. I'm saying the exact time. I noticed the exact time that I pulled the muscle, but this time I didn't. I was just sleeping. I went to turn to the side and I realized I could not move, that I was completely stiff. So I got up in the morning. I remember getting up. Look, I remember, because I'm thinking about what happened. This happened 5 days ago now. So I remember getting up earlier. I'm not saying I remember to get up earlier. I'm saying I remember getting up earlier, okay? I remember getting up earlier because I was so sore. It was so painful. I was so sore in bed that I got up earlier. And I was really, really, really stiff. I was in a lot of pain and could not do anything. So it was not only about not being able to turn to the side. Usually for me, it's like, can't look to the side and I can't lift my head, so I can't look back. But this time it was like a range of movements. A range means like lots of different ones, okay? A range of movements that I could not even think about doing. So things like bending forward, I could not bend forward, no way. I could not crouch to the floor. You know, when you bend your knees to take something from the floor, I could not do that. Lying down was very difficult, so the actual, act of lying down was very hard. So I endured the pain for the entire day and evening. I thought, come on, I'm going to be better tomorrow. Right? I mean, this happens a lot. Not this bad, but I've had it so many times. And then the next morning, I was feeling worse, and I managed to get an appointment to see an osteopath, which is a physiotherapist that kind of does specific types of massages on you to help soothe the pain. I woke up not feeling good, but by the time I went to see the osteopath, because I woke up in the morning and my appointment was at 3 p.m. I think, so by the time all these hours had passed, by the time I went, I was actually feeling better. I was feeling like 10% better than the previous day. I was still very stiff, but I was 10% better. So I get there and he does all of the crazy things he has to do on my neck, and my God, when I get up, I'm not joking, I am like 50% worse. And I was driving. I know, I was driving. So I had driven myself to the clinic and I had to drive myself back home. And the moment I got in the car and I realized it was really difficult to drive physically, and then I knew, okay, no, something is wrong here, like something is bad. And he had said to me, look, if the pain gets really bad, take a pill called, it's a Brazilian one, I don't know that we have this abroad, but it's this very strong anti-inflammatory called Thunrilax. I think that's the name in Brazil. And I had never taken it because I don't take strong pills. I don't take strong pills, like, ever. He said, buy it because you might need it to be able to sleep. I was like, no, I mean, I didn't sleep well last night, but I managed to sleep. So I'm sure I'm going to be okay. I mean, I've just come to see you, right? That's what I'm thinking. So I drive home and I'm really stiff. I'm not feeling good at all. It's really, really hurting. I've got like a hot water bottle here to bring some warmth to my neck. Things are not looking good at all. I then decide to not take the pill and to go to sleep. When I woke up the next day, I could barely get out of bed. Okay, I could barely. This means it was almost impossible for me to get out of bed by myself. I could barely get out of bed, really. And I got up. I could not sit on the toilet, guys. I could not sit on the toilet. I could not pull my shorts down. I could not pull them down. I could not. This movement, impossible. Sitting down, no way. No way, I could not. So by the time I managed to come downstairs for breakfast with my husband who was waiting, I really knew there was something very wrong, because it had gotten, I'm not kidding, like 100 times worse than before I had gone to see the osteopath. Like a lot worse. I went to try and get some eggs from the fridge, and that's when I felt the worst pain. It was like a sharp pain right here. And I was frozen. I actually started crying. Cried with pain. That's how bad it was. Then my husband helped me sit. I sat down. I had breakfast. I was not moving at all. After breakfast, I got the same pain again, and I screamed. I screamed, and I started crying again. So he managed to take me upstairs and to lie me down on the bed. I was there for hours, just lying down without moving, looking at the ceiling, just looking up without moving at all. And it was really crazy because the pain was on my right side, but it was like all the way down my arm as well, all the way down my hand, all the way here, which was awful because like I could not hold things. I could not hold the phone. I could not do anything. It was very painful. So that night I took one of those strong pills to sleep. And then I woke up feeling a lot better, but it completely ruined my stomach. So for the past 2 days now, whenever I eat something, anything, I get really sharp pains right here. Like, like just, you got your chest, just under your chest here, right in the center. And it's ridiculous. This is obviously from the very strong meds. Yeah, so it's like you're trying to fix one problem and then you're getting something else in return. Well, to cut a very long story short, today's the 5th day. I am feeling a lot better. I have regained some of my movements. I'm still very aware of my neck. So I'm still thinking about my neck a lot, like worried about what I do and how I do things and all of that. But at least I see the light at the end of the tunnel now. I see the light, because 2 days ago, honestly, I was like, this is never going to get better. This is it now. Because it was really, really, just really bad. Have you ever had such an awful stiff neck crisis? Something like what I'm describing? Because it feels like you're never going to be the same again. It's really weird. Now I'm wondering what I actually did to get such a bad sort of stiffness. Maybe I was sleeping funny. When you sleep funny, you sleep in the wrong way. Maybe I was sleeping funny. Maybe it was the cold aircon because it's super hot in Brazil. I have no idea. But anyway, that's what happened. And hopefully now I'm only going to be getting better for the next couple of days. So see, this is just talking about something that you're feeling, but you see a friend and you want to tell your friend what's going on, and your friend is like, what, are you joking? And you're like, no, seriously. Then I went to see the osteopath and I'm like, I'm gonna get better now, and then I got so much worse. You're joking. I love going to see the osteopath. I always feel good. Well, I know, me too. This time, no, it was all different this time, you see. So I told you guys the story without any interruptions because you're not there to interrupt me. But in a real situation, there would be comments, there would be interruptions, and those things kind of feed you and they make you want to tell your story in a more entertaining or real or dramatic way. Yeah? So always remember, learning English is about learning a set of different skills, okay? A set of different skills, and telling a story is one of them. Thank you for watching. See you later.